Hi, it's Andy Yuill here, Managing Director of SMC Design in London. First question I'm going to look at is, how has the cruise industry responded to the COVID-19 pandemic? I think it would be fair to say that the cruise industry has continued with the many new build projects that were in place before the pandemic started, and these projects have continued to be built at various shipyards throughout the world. These projects have continued to be completed as well. So there are several projects completing now. Some have already completed and some will complete in the near future. So the clients, the owners, will have new tonnage. And this new tonnage will hopefully take us out of the pandemic as well. There will be a new offering from the clients, from the owners, for their guests. So there will be something new to be promoted coming out of the pandemic. So I think it's a very positive thing that the various owners will have new tonnage moving forward, taking us out of the pandemic. Some projects have been slightly delayed, but I don't see this as a great negative in any way. It's perhaps given the shipyards slightly more time to deal with things in these times which have been very different. So I think the cruise industry is trying to respond very positively. Obviously, as the cruise industry returns to cruising, there will be certain rules and regulations which they shall follow on board, but these have just become standard everyday activities that we all follow now in the world, which is slightly different to before the pandemic. Next question perhaps is, how has SMC adapted? Well, SMC, as a design consultancy who's heavily involved in the cruise industry, like every other company in Britain, the country where we're based in London, but like every other company in Britain, we had to change the way we worked. The whole office worked from home from March 2020 onwards, and basically the whole company, we went home, positioned people living in the London area and elsewhere in Britain. And we showed that we successfully continued servicing the variety of clients that we have within the cruise industry. I have to say I was incredibly impressed how the staff of SMC Design dealt with this change in our way of working. We met all deadlines. We continued to service the clients. We met our schedules with the clients. We met our schedules with the shipyards. We went from, and I think again a great positive thing is that we reduced the amount of meetings that we were obviously attending. We reduced flying. We reduced time spent away from home. We have engaged and embraced Teams and similar video conferencing facilities. And I think what we've done there is we've shown that there will be a great benefit in that moving forward, that we can save time. We can actually improve our quality of life by reducing travel time, time spent away from home. And almost, we have had more meetings with clients because of the ease of the Teams meeting video conferencing facilities. So that has been a big positive, I think, and something that will benefit projects moving forward. SMC Design have been very fortunate that we actually picked up some new projects during the pandemic, and these projects have been completely developed with clients and doing it using Teams and doing it, but as I say, having more weekly meetings, having more involvement with clients, and that is always a great positive when developing something as complex as a cruise vessel. So I believe that SMC has taken many positives of this, and we will take many positives into the future to benefit the way we work. Yes, coming out of the pandemic, hopefully, which we now hopefully are doing, we have returned to the office. But we've returned to the office, but in a limited capacity. We will have, our staff will work in the office and then work a percentage of the week from home as well. And again, being based in London, this can only improve their quality of life. And we know that this flexible way of working works. We've proven it to work over the last 18 months. So moving forward, I feel that SMC has been able to adapt to the situation, adapt to it positively, and we will take great positives out of this. Do you see any long-term implications? Long-term implications. To the cruise industry, I believe that there will be certain things that will change in how we operate on board a cruise vessel, and they will be sensible steps moving forward, dealing with what may be possible future pandemics. But the wheel, it wasn't broken. What we have on board cruise vessels, the formulas that we have on board, they work. The passengers, the guests, they want to come back to cruising. They're very faithful to the different companies, and they want to come back to cruising. They want to come back to a world that they were familiar with, and they're very passionate about, and they very much enjoy. So I think that the implications moving forward, perhaps there will be subtle changes in the operations, but the guests will still want to take part in everything that was previously offered to them. It's just that there may be slight changes in how we dine, how, I think that's perhaps one of the major things. There may be slight developments in how some of the restaurants are operated. But moving forward, the guests will, I believe, expect and want the same experience they had before, because at the end of the day, it's all about the guest's experience. Further long-term implications, I think it's very important that events throughout the world in connection to the cruise industry continue, start up again. You're holding this wonderful event in Korea to look at and promote the cruise industry in Korea itself. I think the more of these events that take place, the better for the industry as a whole. We will be able to come together again. It's something that we haven't been able to do for almost the last 2 years. And this coming together again as an industry, this sharing of ideas, this communication between all the different elements within this industry, this is very important, and very important as a step to move us out and forward from COVID-19 and the pandemic that we have been involved in.